From a city where historic Europe melds with the modern world.
That, my friends, is good food.
Comes a bold new approach to what Dutch cuisine is.
This is so ridiculously good.
And what it can be.
You're really an evil scientist.
It's happening in Amsterdam.
It's the new Dutch age of exploration.
Where creativity turns a national nuisance
Fantastic.
into delicacies for gourmands.
It's heavenly.
And where challenging taboos will one day change diets around the world.
I'm Andrew Zimmern, and this is Bizarre Foods.
Leef en laat leven. Live and let live. The credo for a city that's as famous for windmills and canals as it is for its political tolerance and permissive social mores. Amsterdam has always been the progressive cultural center of Europe. Since the Dutch golden age of the 17th century, it's been home to masters of ingenuity, global explorers, and innovators pushing the boundaries of science and art. Today, the new frontier is food. Chef Paul Hartering wanted to be a painter, but his creativity led him to the kitchen.
I wouldn't call that typical Dutch grandmother cooking.
No, but it starts with a Dutch product.
The daily menu at Gebroeders Hartering is driven by Paul's desire to see Dutch ingredients and techniques brought into the 21st century. One of his signature dishes channels Holland's ancient love affair with charcuterie.
So what do you do with Porky here?
We're gonna debone the head.
We're making a terrine inside a pig's head, and we need to start by removing the face in one piece from the skull of the hog.
It has to be fresh. It's brined also.
Yep.
For a day. And this is the tricky part because you need to go over the cheeks.
Mm-hmm. The beautiful part of it is that the bones do tell you what to do and where to go.
The best pieces of food are in the most difficult spots.
The meticulous knife work serves to keep the meat and skin of the face as intact as possible.
Actually,
Yeah,
can you hold it?
of course. 2 men on a pig is really the way it should be done. It goes so much faster.
There you go.
I mean, that's fantastic. Am I right? Everyone's like, oh, why do you like the snoot so much? Look at that meat that's in there. This is like bacon.
The use of the pig's face as a natural casing is a smart choice.
I always feel a little bit like Dr. Frankenstein.
No,
when
of
I'm doing
course.
this.
No, but that's the fun part of cooking.
Held together with a few well-placed stitches.
The ears.
Yep.
Gonna go through the eyes.
Yep.
That's an easy way to close the...
But that seals that up without having to
Yep.
sew another piece. And it braises the ears.
Yep.
I love this.
And then basically you ended up with a bag.
Right. It only took you an hour and a half. I'm just kidding.
Paul prides himself on making something incredible out of the one piece of the pig, the facial skin, that others would throw away.
The loveliest sound in the food kingdom. And there's the brain. There's not a thing here that gets wasted in this
No,
kitchen.
after we take out the brain's going to brine.
The pig head is stuffed with well-seasoned coarse-ground pork trimmings. The fat will render and be absorbed into the force meat during the cooking process, resulting in a meltingly tender final product.
Boiled pistachios here, and because of the season right now, lavender.
God, that's gorgeous.
Next in, blanched hog tongues.
Okay, now for the brains.
Oh my gosh, this is just getting better and better.
The result is a 15-pound cornucopia of pork.
Now I'm really hungry. It's like a giant pigskin bonbon.
Okay.
The stuffed head then simmers in a stock made from pig bones and feet for 4 hours.
Now we wait.
This is going to be a very, very difficult 4 hours for me.
Paul is a true artisan, working tirelessly to master his craft and perfect a menu that is anything but typically Dutch. But I'm hungry now. Paul is going to meet up with me later, so I'm biking off to the nearest market.
At first glance, you may think that these things are a little bit touristy, but they're not really. I mean, you know, most of the people here are neighborhood folks.
What began as an ad hoc swap meet in Amsterdam's De Pijp Quarter became the historic Albert Cup Market in 1905. Less than 2 miles from Paul's Kitchen, it remains the busiest street market in the Netherlands.
If you go past the Serbian panty shops and the sunglass places, you actually find something that's truly Dutch, like this cheese shop.
Dutch cheesemaking dates back to 200 BC, but the variety that put them on the map is from 1184.
It's my farmhouse Gouda.
Yeah?
It's creamy, a little bit strong, and also a little bit afterbite because it is made from the raw milk.
Gouda is named for the southern Dutch city where it was historically traded, not made. It is one of the oldest cheeses on record, still being made today.
That's really, really great.
We keep the best for ourselves. Eh?
Of course you do.
A yellow cow's milk cheese isn't the only Dutch classic to come out of the city of Gouda.
The smell of caramel and vanilla right now is intoxicating.
You never get sick of them.
What she said.
Syrup waffles, or stroopwafels, first appeared in a Gouda bakery around the early 19th century.
It's the classic Dutch street waffle. The dough is pressed into these fine little waffle presses, and then it's got this beautiful, sweet little caramely sauce inside of it.
There you go. The highlight of the tour.
It is. There's nothing better. Just look at that. I'm not pausing for effect. I'm refusing to talk because this is so ridiculously good.
Stroopwafel stands are a fixture of markets and carnivals, alongside another perennial favorite.
That's some impressive fork work.
Thank you.
Poffertjes. The buckwheat flour and yeast mini pancakes require a special pan and expert flip to achieve fluffy perfection.
They're small and yeasty and spongy. There is not a world that I could imagine that isn't made better with pancakes, butter, and sugar.
Poffertjes are also popular in Indonesia, the former Dutch colony. The flow of cross-cultural influence wasn't a one-way street.
I'll try the Royal Lumpia.
Lumpia are fried Filipino egg rolls made with a thin, brittle pastry wrapper, Chinese in origin, and in this case, cooked by a French-Vietnamese vendor using Indonesian flavors.
Wow. This is the ultimate sort of Dutch street food because it honors the age of exploration, their relationship with Southeast Asia, and their obsession with crispy fried things. That's really good.
Thank you, thank you.
But to find the undisputed king of iconic Dutch originals, eat where the local chefs eat.
It's kind of like comfort food cement spackle.
In the heart of Amsterdam, Paul Hardering is exploring a new world of possibilities for Dutch cuisine through creativity and rigorous technique.
Now for the brains.
His stuffed pig's head needs a 4-hour boil before I can sample it.
Then does it have to chill?
Yep. That's a set for now.
So, more waiting. And now, Paul wants a snack.
This is the croquette place, Van Dobben.
Since 1945, Eetsalon Van Dobben has been turning out cheap and fast Dutch nibbles and small sandwiches.
There seems to be a Dutch obsession with all of these little quick snacky things.
Deep fried snacks is definitely a Dutch thing.
A Dutch thing.
Yeah.
Of course, there's also the typically aggressive Dutch waitress.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
We order broodjes, little sandwiches on soft buns. There are dozens to choose from. Half liverwurst, half pickled meat, a local version of corned beef.
It's a nice sandwich. The buns make it. I mean, I'd come here every day just for that.
And that's not even the house specialty. The Van Dobben Empire was built on croquettes.
If a bar has food, this is the first thing that's on the menu.
Deep fried and breaded, these little logs are stuffed with all kinds of filling. In this case, a mystery meat ragu.
It's kind of like comfort food cement spackle. It's delicious, but it's, either a grandmother made it or a plumber is using it to fix something. I mean, one or the other.
They start with a roux to thicken a beefy broth into meat-flecked sturdy gravy, then fortified with gelatin so it can be rolled into shape. They're so popular, in 1992, Van Doben began commercial production. Each year, the factory produces 200 million units of croquettes and bitterballen.
It's basically the same thing, only in ball form.
These taste like they're filled with my grandmother's gravy from the Sunday roast. You know, this is the food of convenience. It's the food of childhood.
Childhood, that's probably even better, you know, like that's what I was raised on these little ones.
This may be the food Paul grew up on, but his menu at Hebroder's Hartering is redefining what Dutch cuisine can be. Like a stuffed pig's head that's taken all day to cook and chill.
Look at how gorgeous that is. I thought the smell of it going into the broth was great. The smell after it's chilled for a little while is even better. As it starts to warm up, you can smell the force meat inside.
When served on the menu, the pig head terrine is sliced thin and plated. Today, well, I've been waiting too long.
Look at this thing. You like a little bit of the fat and skin in there, right?
This is the best.
That's the best. Look at that fat, and there's this gorgeous little crescent moon of pale, pale flesh there. It's face bacon.
And it's encasing a perfect melange of tongue, brains, and pistachio-laced pork force meat.
The fact that it was in a bag and it had that moisture exchange with the stock, it's perfect. The texture is perfect. That's just a beautiful job.
Indeed, Paul's a perfectionist. He's also an explorer, seeking inspiration from other cultures around the world. It's in the Dutch DNA.
As a chef, where did you get your curiosity for this kind of stuff?
Definitely travel.
Yeah.
My wife is Mexican-American, so that's where a lot of flavors come in, for me at least.
Trips to Southeast Asia sparked curiosity around how techniques like fermentation might pair with Dutch ingredients like the local squid.
I figured, why not try everything?
Yeah.
Large squid are abundant in the North Sea. Though their mantle can grow up to 16 inches, their anatomy is simple at best.
There's a trick to getting the esophagus.
Yeah.
So you take the beak
Yeah.
and you squeeze it with your hands.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The squid is nice and fresh. This works.
Same trick works for removing the gladius.
Basically, the shell turned inside out.
It's called the pen because, do you see how that would work? That's a fresh squid.
The stomach and gills are discarded, but Paul has plans for the remaining organs.
There are the eyes. There's the liver, that brownish gray thing. And that little silver thing with what looks like a cloudy black interior is the ink sac.
The eyes, liver, and ink sac are combined in a pan to make a quick but beautiful sauce for the grilled squid.
Those squid parts, I mean, I think in so many different areas of the world, they use that to make the first fish sauces and garums.
We actually make our own fermented fish sauce.
Salt and brown sugar start the fermentation process.
So this is just the organs, the heads.
That is fantastic.
And after at least a year,
That's
The end product.
the end product. Are you kidding me? That is so butter. It almost reminds me of fish sauce with miso. I'm racking my brain to imagine a better version of that I've ever tasted. That might be the best one. I'm not kidding.
Paul uses it to kickstart the fermentation process in his Dutch kimchi, a take on Korean fermented cabbage.
We started with kimchi, and then we started leaving out Korean ingredients, replaced them by Dutch ingredients.
You're really an evil scientist.
With the skills of a surgeon.
We're gonna slice the body so when you grill it, they go up like scales.
Sure.
Yeah.
A technique he picked up watching sushi chefs prepare their fish for service.
Which is a beautiful presentation.
And
Cooks
from the-
evenly.
Fresh Dutch ingredients, Japanese squid butchery, Korean-style fermentation, ancient fish sauce recipes, even a Mexican-inspired cilantro sauce.
I'm already in love with the dish and I haven't even eaten it yet. Wow. It is a symphony of fermentation and sweet and salty, and the squid's cooked perfectly. That's just brilliant. It's brilliant. How much playing around before you sort of wound up with this, and do you serve it all the time here?
This is definitely one of our dishes that we like to keep doing. It keeps evolving.
With a global perspective and a relentless dedication to craft, Paul Hardering is proving Dutch cuisine is much more than the bland comfort food it's mistakenly been characterized by.
That's as perfect and as beautiful a plate of food as you'll eat anywhere in the world. That is just ridiculous.
Thank you.
Ridiculous.
30 minutes north of Amsterdam, another transformation is taking place on the IJsselmeer.
That's it.
A 500-year-old legacy chases what may be their last catch.
I feel like I'm on the SS Don Quixote.
"30 minutes northeast of Amsterdam, following a dike along Lake Markermeer, leads to the historic town of Volendam. The name means filled dam, settled in 1357 on land reclaimed by fishermen and their families making a living on the open sea.
Volendam is a fishing village turned quaint tourist attraction. And you can still see little stalls on the street that are selling some of the best fish in town.
Herring, a fish that created a great industry here.
That one is raw.
Yes.
It's marinade.
Hollandse Nieuwe herring, the season's first catch. Ripened in salt brine for a day and expertly deboned in seconds. Always served with raw onions.
You are.
Fantastic. Look at this. This is really nice herring. The color, just beautiful. Soft, buttery. It just melts in your mouth. You just want to, you don't even need teeth. Yeah.
Making it easy to consume in the classic Dutch way, just like the fishermen did at sea 1,000 years ago.
Now this, on the other hand, is pickled.
This herring was cured in vinegar and onions.
The pickling process here is very light, and it accentuates that fatty flavor. It's really, really completely different than the fresh.
Yes. What do you like more?
Pickling fish has been a popular form of preserving food here for over 700 years. The mid-19th century fishing boom in Volendam gave rise to another.
You must go through a lot of socks.
Yeah. And pants.
Jan Smit started smoking fish 40 years ago to carry on his family's legacy.
And how many generations before you?
I'm the fifth. So it started in 1856. But in that time, they were smoking herring.
Today, Jan smokes everything from mackerel and lake trout to farm-raised imports.
Oh, that's beautiful. Hot smoked salmon?
Yes.
What do you have still hanging up in there?
Some eel from the lake.
Well, now you've got my attention.
European eel, the slimy, snake-like freshwater fish with meaty, oily flesh. I love them. And they've been the specialty of Smit Bochum Smokehouse since 1932.
There is no eel in the whole world with the taste of IJsselmeer.
Eel hasn't always been a native species in Volendam. When construction of the dike closed off the North Sea, two freshwater lakes formed, IJsselmeer and the Markermeer.
After the dike came,
Yeah.
the herring disappeared, and then many eel came in because the water became fresh.
Yeah.
And after that, the taste was getting better and better of the eel.
Enhanced by a simple yet particular smoking process, no thermometers here, and no computers to regulate the fire.
Nothing can replace the wind flow, the fresh air, the salt water in the air.
Well, this is a feeling.
Yeah.
Jan smolders 100 pounds of pine shavings over 2 hours. It's an intuitive balance of dispersing the heat and timely dousing to create more smoke.
I play with the door,
Yeah.
so if I close it more,
Yeah.
then the fire goes a little bit lower. Because when it goes like this, I lose all the fat.
Fat is the key element here. It holds the smoky flavor better than the leaner flesh of other species.
I'm very excited. And eel is one of my favorite top 5 foods in the world for me.
You are a lucky man to be here.
I am a very lucky man to be here.
Before the eels can be eaten, they have to be caught.
There's a big eel. That is a nice sized one. Or as we call it in eel parlance, a fryer.
Jack Schilder and his brothers Patrick and Jerry have been fishing eel on the IJsselmeer all their lives.
I'm 46.
Are you really?
I'm feeling old.
Are you really?
Their father, Jerry, started when he was 12 years old. Fishing is a Schilder legacy.
How long has your family been doing this?
Valt tot 1500 frank, kunnen we dat zien? About 1550.
1550? This family has been fishing for 500 years. Think about that. This is the history of Holland in 5 square meters.
In the heyday of Volendam eel fishing, you could bring in 1,000 pounds a day. 13 years ago, Jack and Patrick built their own boat to streamline production with a sprayer that cleans the nets as a roller helps pull them in.
The traps are exceedingly dirty, filled with rocks and flotsam and jetsam from the bottom of the ocean. Because it's been very stormy lately, they haven't been able to pull traps.
These men are the last bottles of water in the desert. The local eel industry is dead.
The division of labor on board this boat is crazy. The youngest kid is netting out seaweed and garbage. The oldest one hand fillets the smallest eels. These 4 guys just keep pulling nets like there's a never-ending stream of them. I feel like I'm on the SS Don Quixote.
The eel population of the Esselmeer is 1% of what it was 20 years ago. In Western Europe, the high demand for baby eels, called glass eels, has led to overfishing and dwindling numbers of eels migrating back to northern European waters.
So this was a good day.
Yeah, we have a good day.
350 pounds.
Eels 28 centimeters or longer go to auction. The smaller eels and other bycatch go back to the lake.
You 3 are the current generation. Are the boys going to take over?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
We are the last.
That's it.
Currently, the eel season runs only 4 months. Unless the population returns to the Esselmeer, there soon may be no more eels left to fish.
The next generation may not do this. This may be it. But there aren't other families doing this.
In Volendam, 3.
3.
Yes. Then it's
3.
over. Then it's over. Then it's over.
It's done.
Back in Volendam, many are looking to the future to keep the customs of the past alive.
It's like thick paper wrapped around a soft candy.
A half-hour north of Amsterdam is the historic home of the Dutch eel fishery, Volendam. 40 years ago, 5th-generation fish smoker Jan Smit began learning the family trade just as his father and uncles had before him.
In that time, 300 boats, 30 smokeries. This was a place, and they were all living from the fish.
Yeah.
Today, 2 smokeries and 3 eel fishing boats remain, along with the historic Volendam auction house.
10, 15 years ago, every day when I went to the auction, 5,000–6,000 kilos. So then I had a big choice.
Right. Now,
only one.
right.
Due to overfishing and pollution, the eels are disappearing from the lake. The daily catch now averages just 400 pounds. About 10 of that will have the right fat content for Jan to smoke.
€4,24.
Jan is one of 2 smokers in town left who bid on lake eels. The other guys, not here today.
I could leap in right now and corner the entire market on Volendam eel.
Eels are sold by the half kilo, which is about 1 pound.
€11,50.
Yesterday's price determines the opening bid.
€5,41.
As the wheel spins, the price per pound drops until a bid is placed. With no other bidders, Jan must bid low enough to turn a profit while still offering a price the fishermen will accept.
11.50.
Keizer.
Okay.
Jan learned all he knows about the eel trade from his father.
Thank you.
Well done.
Just like he's teaching the 6th generation of Smit eel smokers. Jan's younger son, also named Jan, is learning to work the smoker. His older son, Evert, manages the family business.
My brother and I, we are preserving culture. So the skill we master is mastered by maybe 3 or 4 people in the country.
Including the best method for seasoning eel meat. Dispatch them with salt.
So now it just takes seconds
Yeah.
before they...
Eels of this size are what? 5 years old?
Yeah, 7.
7
5,
years
6.
old? It's amazing.
European eels spawn in the salt waters off the Sargasso Sea. The larvae grow into baby eels called elvers as they migrate to the fresh waters of Europe.
The thing that's amazing is that these tiny little elvers make their way over so much ocean.
More than 3,700 miles to the Ijsselmeer. But what eel larvae eat during the multi-year migration remains a mystery. The Glossal Eel Hatchery in Volendam is conducting research to find out. When they do, eels will be able to be bred and raised 100% on farms, helping to ease the strain on the natural spawning cycle. And hopefully the population will return to the Ijsselmeer and Smit-Bokum.
So this is now the total catch of one fisherman.
Undergoing the Volendam version of stomping the grapes, removing all the slime from the eels.
What I'm doing here is gently pressing the eel, not squeezing them, and then drawing off the slime.
With surgical precision, Jan slices open the belly and sorts the eels he wants.
Those eels are not fat enough to smoke.
Right.
The smaller one we sell from our shop for people in Volendam.
Yep.
For stewing.
Yeah.
And the big one for the restaurant.
Yeah.
Evert's job is to clear the entrails in 2 moves. The first, a quick twist and pull. And with the second...
Then comes the eel sound. So...
It is not a noise they're making. That is the sound of the scraping against the spine, because you have to remove that bloodline that's in there, otherwise it turns the eel bitter.
And now, you see.
Beautiful.
Evert hadn't planned on making Smit-Bokum Smokehouse his career. After getting a degree in international law, he headed to Amsterdam.
I was doing fancy things with fancy people.
Yep.
But there wasn't any heart.
Yeah.
So that's why I came back.
Good for you.
Now he's determined to help his father preserve their heritage.
Now, of course, we don't close our eyes for adopting new ways of working.
The Smits have turned to high-quality farm-raised eels to help keep up with demand.
The eels from farms, the skin is hard.
Right.
So we make fillet of it.
Smoked, cleaned, and filleted in back, hand-packed by the family, and sold in the shop every day. Due to the limited quantities, the smoked lake eels are sold by invite only.
What's behind that door, I wouldn't necessarily call priceless, but it's getting to the point where it just might be.
After 2 hours of carefully managed smoking.
So this is gold.
Yeah, no
This is
kidding.
real gold.
Oh, yeah.
Feel that?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's like thick paper wrapped around a soft candy. And that's where the fat has liquefied. Some has dripped out. Some has gone into the meat.
5 generations of smoking wisdom and 40 years of practical experience wrapped up in the one moment I've been waiting for all day.
You take off the head.
Then you spread.
Spread, yeah. And then just take it out of the skin. It's the best thing you can eat in your life.
My God, it's perfect. Because the flesh of the eel is so sweet.
And then this is the best thing you can do.
Sucking that last layer of fat and the tiny dark meat away from the skin reminds me of eating the best ham in Italy. You get a lot of fat and it's so worth it. That's extraordinary.
It may just be the reason Smit-Bokum will be around for at least another generation.
You know what that is? That means lunch was good.
An hour west of Amsterdam, another family is looking to the future, developing a sustainable source of protein for Europe.
This is ranching.
The countryside an hour outside Amsterdam is filled with meat and dairy livestock grazing in lush pastures.
I like the very serious door.
Among the conventional stock, one progressive farm is ushering in the future of food production.
That, my friends, is good food.
Mariko Kallis grew up on the farm her parents founded 35 years ago to raise insects as a sustainable source of protein-rich pet food.
We have 10 species we rear,
Right.
and one of them is for human consumption as well.
It just staggers me as someone who eats bugs and has eaten them for a long time, how many of our problems would just disappear if we extended our diet to insects.
To 80% of the world, entomophagy, or eating insects, is nothing new. For centuries, people have been consuming giraffe beetles in Madagascar.
Wow. That's good.
Stink bugs in Mexico.
You can't tell me that that doesn't taste like shrimp or lobster.
Flying white ants in Uganda.
They taste like almonds. They really do.
Bugs as a protein source remain taboo in much of the U.S. and Europe. Kreka is one of 4 bug producers in the Netherlands working to change that.
These are the buffalo worms. You can see there are a lot of worms in one box.
Buffalo worms are the larvae of darkling beetles, a pest found in grain products like flour.
They are this size in 6 weeks.
Ground beef averages an 18% protein content. Buffalo worms are 60% and packed with essential nutrients.
This freaks some people out. To me, I think it's very exciting.
Mature buffalo worms are separated, purged for 12 hours to clear their digestive tracts, and blanched before processing.
You can put a lot more insects per square meter than you have
That is
livestock.
right. It's a fairly simple system, and that's why insects as food are such a vital part of our future, because it's simple.
Last year, Kreka partnered with Heidi de Bruin, CEO of the new parent company, Pro-T Farm. Together, they're working with investors and processors to turn their bugs into products the general public will eat.
So these are the freeze-dried
Yes, correctly.
buffalo worms.
Yes.
Delicious. They're sweet.
So if you mix them with spices or something within, like the meat burger, you have a fantastic taste.
These nuggets are with buffalo worms.
This is great. I'd have a schnitzel or a patty on a sandwich.
Several supermarkets in the Netherlands now stock bug-based products, mock versions of more recognizable food formats.
It's the new Dutch age of exploration.
I would say so.
Yeah.
In another display of true forward thinking, hunters in Amsterdam are turning lemons into lemonade. In 1999, a moratorium on goose hunting caused the population to explode, reaching up to 1.6 million in the winter. Geese have become a serious nuisance.
So how many months a year can you hunt here?
12 months a year, especially for goose hunting.
Self-taught charcuterie specialists Martien van der Riep and Tom Zinger started hunting geese 2 years ago. Today, former pro big game hunter Heis Wilhelm and his Labrador retriever Hoos are joining us in the field.
He's a beauty.
Thank you. He has to work hard for it. We train him daily.
It's the makings of a great hunting party, unless you're a foreign visitor.
Here we tried for a long time and I could not get a hunting license. Wah, wah.
That's the problem with Holland. That's the strongest gun regulations in the world.
The strongest gun regulations in the world. Wah, wah. But I'm going to try to have a good attitude and be along for the ride.
This is hunting in Amsterdam, one of the least popular outdoor activities in all of Holland.
There's no real hunting culture here.
Being a very liberal, very progressive country, right? There's probably more animal rights activists than there are hunters.
The blinds are secured and decoys set.
And now we wait.
Greylags account for 3/4 of the population, but farmers want all species gone. They feed on grass in the same pastures where livestock graze.
And you have 1,000 geese in your field.
Yeah.
10 geese eat as much as 1 cow. And
they also pose a larger threat. And did I mention we're about 4 miles from one of the busiest airports in the world? Bird strikes. Flocks of geese flying into passenger planes at Schiphol Airport. In 2011, there were nearly 8 bird strikes for every 10,000 flights.
With the overpopulation of geese,
sure,
they're very dangerous to...
ridiculously dangerous.
The combination of an airport culling program and year-round hunting has proven a win.
The farmers want the hunters here.
Yep.
Schiphol Airport wants the hunters here. Everybody wants the hunters here.
Yeah.
Fresh goose is one of my favorite foods, but with these two, I may never get to eat any.
Oh, I would have dropped 2 with 1 shot.
Good thing we got Heiss. Opa!
Fantastic.
Yo!
We got a pigeon and a goose.
That kind of goose as well. Some Egyptian geese.
Yeah, Nile, right? They call it a Nile goose.
They're actually from the duck family. Hollanders claim they escaped from a private collection in the 70s and have since become an invasive species.
Well, that's great. The breast should grill up beautifully.
Goose hunters are permitted to hunt until an hour after sunset, but there are no restrictions on foreign visitors field dressing the quarry.
That's a beautiful...
It's a nice piece of meat.
Oh, yeah. It's a beautiful pigeon. Jeez Louise. Look at that. I love it.
The lean, tender pigeon meat takes only a few minutes on the grill.
Wow. The pigeon breast is out of control.
Like the pigeons, Egyptian geese are dark meat birds with a flavor closer to beef than chicken.
If you told somebody this was a rump steak, they'd believe you.
Yeah.
Texture and flavor. Delicious. Is it popular here for eating? No.
In Holland, it was very popular to eat geese, and now it's unknown, it's unwanted.
This was fantastic. I want to make sure you understand I do not blame you at all for my not being able to shoot.
Again?
Wah, wah.
A new appreciation for goose is on the horizon.
Good job. You get a piece?
Martine and Tom aren't just solving a public problem, they're creating a delectable solution.
It's just earthy enough and sweet enough to let you know that it's not some run-of-the-mill meat.
In Amsterdam, the Dutch government helps foster young businesses by subsidized incubator campuses like Lola Lout. It's turned out to be the perfect environment for the goose charcuterie upstart Hebroders de Wolf, the Wolf brothers.
They had this kitchen here for you?
It's actually an old school.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the school moved, and then they put in startup companies.
There's nothing better than seeing somebody doing something that they love.
Yeah.
And watching it grow.
Martine van der Riep and Tom Zinger are hunting Amsterdam's abundant nuisance goose population.
It's an Egyptian geese.
Yeah, Nile, right? They call it a Nile goose?
And turning them into gourmet delicacies like goose confit.
Confit is such a great way to deal with the legs of this animal. This is really nice.
Or dried fermented sausage.
This is one of the more delicious products of its type that I've ever tried. It's perfect. It's perfect.
And it all started a year ago.
Last year we started at our own kitchen table to make some bitter balls.
These piping hot croquettes are filled with goose meat and gravy, a far cry from the mystery meat paste at Eetsalon van Doben. Tom adapted his game bird version from a family recipe.
You're channeling your grandmother.
Yeah. I started cooking because of my grandmother.
Mine too.
The goose mix balls are rolled in flour, then egg and breadcrumbs twice, and deep fried until golden. Served with mustard, of course.
Watch out, it's camera hot.
Oh. Well, that's delicious. It's a comfort food deal for most of the folks who eat them. This is where everyone should start, right at the top.
Hebroders de Wolf products are sold to restaurants, in delicacy stores, and at street markets.
When we're on the market, put it there, people can taste it. When they taste it, they buy it.
Of course they do.
To keep up with demand, the Wolf brothers need more goose than they can hunt. So they buy it from Peter Van Meel, which processes thousands of geese each year, both donated from the airport culling program and from hunters who don't want their catch. Van Meel wholesales processed game meat to the public, to restaurants, and enterprising young upstarts.
It's the smoked breast.
Can I slice some of this?
Yep.
Marinated overnight in juniper berry, bay leaves, and spices, and then hung on racks for smoking.
The smell of the cure, the lightness of it, it's modern, traditional, and it smells fantastic. I can't wait to eat it.
The marinated breasts are cold smoked in oak coals for 12 hours and finished in the oven.
delicious.
Yeah.
Not too smoky, not too cured either.
No.
You still taste the bread. That's really nice.
No, we try to keep the cure low on salt.
Yeah.
Or not, just as much as needed.
Just enough to do the job.
Yeah.
Very few Dutch dining tables have seen goose since the 70s. So Martien and Tom experiment with recipes to change conventional thinking around what goose is and can be.
What I'm doing is making a satay out of goose breast.
Skewers of tender gosling meat cured for a couple days in traditional Indonesian spices.
What do you do with the satay?
We have a big grill outside.
You grill it outside?
Yep.
Perfect for barbecuing a dish inspired by a former Dutch colony.
Satay is an Indonesian.
It is. But it also seems to be a national dish of this country as well.
As well, yeah.
The satay grills just long enough to caramelize before getting a coat of lemongrass coconut peanut sauce.
It's heavenly.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I mean, that's just great cooking. It's just earthy enough and sweet enough to let you know that it's not some run-of-the-mill meat. Why the commercial goose industry hasn't exploded, I don't know.
No.
Thanks to the creative dishes of Gebroeders de Wolf, it's only a matter of time before it does.
I like the idea of like 2 nights a week a pop-up. 40 seats, sell it out, make some money.
In an old aeroplane.
In an old aeroplane. In an old aeroplane.
Good idea.
Very good idea.
This city of canals was built on progressive ideas, enlightened by master artists and world explorers, always innovating, always evolving. If the direction the food scene is taking is any indication, that's still the case today. Perhaps the Amsterdam of today never left the Dutch Golden Age.
So just remember, the next time you're in Amsterdam, if it looks good,
Eat it.